Hey y'all, welcome back to the Smoke Dungeon. DB here, and we're rolling along with Tiny Mini March. And this time, yo, I'm coming at you with something slightly bigger. We're going all the way up to the lofty heights of 15 millimeter, y'all. I know, it's like ginormous, right? Check it out. These are Warlord Games American Civil War Epic Battles. I know it uses a black powder rule set. Full disclosure, kind of funny story. So, used to subscribe to War Games Illustrated. Miss it dearly. Love the fact that it came with a sprue. One time an issue came with a sprue full of these guys. A gray sprue of American Civil War dudes, right? It come with all these infantry you see here, which is 5 bases worth, four bases, a command, a officer on a horse, and then 1 artillery piece, which I don't have here. It's still in the cabinet. And they sat on the front of this. I read the issue, ripped the sprue off, threw it in a box. Then after a couple months, I was like, you know what? Change of pace. I want to paint some tiny dudes. I'm going to paint these Confederate guys on the sprue. And the sprue was gray, so I primed it up. And I showed it to my buddy. I was like, hey, check these dudes I painted out. And he was like, oh, awesome. And then, for Christmas 3 years ago, my brother from another mother, the Esquire, he always gets me dope Christmas presents, dude. Usually the bigger the box, the better with him. He's gotten me such things as the Ogre Kickstarter edition, all kinds of, he's my dude, yo. And he just hooks me up. Well, he got me the starter set for this game, for the American Civil War stuff. And I was like, oh, snap. He was like, I got one for myself, too. We're going to battle. I was like, oh, snap. I'm going to paint all these Confederates. So I busted the box open, y'all. And I realized something. The Confederate sprues are gray, and the Union ones are blue. So I was like, oh, shit. We could have just played this game without painting any of these models. Because although he's definitely painted his Anglo-Zulu guys quicker than I have, he's not really one for the painting anymore. So I was like, damn, we could have got together and we could have played this game. But instead, I primed all these dudes tan, and then I went back through and painted them all. So that's kind of nutty. But that's what Tiny Mini March is about, y'all. So these dudes were painted almost primarily. These dudes were painted almost totally with contrast paints, except a few of the hats were not contrast paints. And then the silvers are not contrast paints. And the one thing I haven't done is I haven't painted their bases yet. You'll see they're just kind of blue tacked on here because I didn't know if I wanted to paint them tan bases or brown, or even just flock them green. I wanted to talk to my buddy and see like what his deal was. I'm tending to think I'm gonna go flock them green, just because to break up all the browns and stuff on here. But you never know. I might just throw like some GW technical paint on there. The kind with the sand in it. Because I feel like that would be good to be like Dusty Road or whatever. But anyway, let's check some tiny minis, y'all. So these dudes, almost all contrast paints, yo. And because they are Confederates, you don't, most people just think all the Confederates were gray. And those people don't know what the hell they're talking about. A lot of beach nuts in there. A lot of dudes just wearing whatever the hell were in their closets. You know what I mean? You'll notice there's 2 flagpoles here. One has the stars and bars, and the other, I believe, is an Alabama state flag that I just took off for this video because I didn't want YouTube to knock it for fucking having a Confederate flag in there. But I don't know. I might just, yeah, I'll probably put something up with, I don't know, dude. I didn't put tiny Germans up because a couple other vehicles have swastikas on them. I didn't want to put that shit on here because people are fucking squirrely, and I don't like it because it's history, dude. You got to deal with it, learn to live with it. You know what I'm saying? But whatever. But for the banners, I used, the crazy shit was, and I'll get these out and show them in another video. I used tinfoil, dude, and then I painted the tinfoil orange. I painted like a little Confederate flag on the tinfoil. That's an old school way we used to do banners, either paper or tinfoil, because it gives you that crinkle in the move. And then you can easily slide them off. But I'm pretty sure the starter set came with stickers. So, like I said, once I opened it and saw that it was gray and blue plastic in there, I was like, oh shit. I was so disheartened. So I stopped painting these dudes. After that, I finished this whole unit, and then I was like, whatever. But I am going to get them out, dude. I am going to get them out because these dudes were easy to crush, and you'll see. So I primed Wraithbone tan, or Wraithbone, whatever GW Wraithbone is, brown, tannish brown. Then I went in, threw some Gilliman contrast on their hands and faces, right? And then gray on all these dudes. And then I left a few blank, and then I just went in and hit those tan. Same thing with the hats, you know? Because let's be honest, when you're looking at these dudes from like all the way like over here, can you really tell what the hell's going on? No, you can't. So I threw some orange on the drum. And then there's a couple off colors. There's like some brass on here. That's a non-contrast. Most of these beechnut browns are a skeleton horde contrast. And then I believe I went snakebite leather or Argos dune on all the shoes. And now here's another trick when you paint all these dudes, since they're going on these bases two at a time, right? When you go back through and you're painting like an off-white and stuff on here, sometimes I don't paint all the daggers because I'm just like, whatever, dude. But this row in the front, you never need to paint like all the shit on their belts because you're never, ever, ever fucking gonna see it. All right. So just paint the top of their straps on their backpacks, dude. And then I'm not gonna lie, I had a lot of fun. Oop, these ones, this is the one base that's not puttied in, right? Of course, y'all. I'll just pull them right out. So these dudes take 0 time to paint. And as long as you have a decent brush when you're painting the straps, the effort is pretty minimal as well. But the most fun I had, I'm not going to lie, was like choosing which guy would be brown and which guy would be gray. And then painting hat colors, dude. And it's like, you know what? I don't know what this wouldn't be a regiment. I don't know what the scale is in black powder, like what a base represents. But like, if you're thinking about it, this is like one unit, right? You know how long it took me to paint these dudes? Like, honestly, the rifles were the longest part because they were non-contrast and just deciding what hat colors to put where to break it up. But like literally, this took me like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours at night. 3 or 4 nights tops, dude. 1 week, you can smash this out. That's like, I don't understand the predominance of gray plastic with the new advent of contrast paints. Like, you owe it to the game, whatever game you're playing, and to the immersion to just like throw some fucking colors on shit. And then here's my officer dude. You'll see he's much the same, dude. We painted his blanket in there, painted the horse brown, threw some non-contrast black on his hooves. They're a little shiny, but whatever. And yeah, I mean, I could go back in here and paint this strap again, right? Painted the chevrons, and I could go in and paint the little tassels on his hat, but I really haven't because I was just like, whatever. And you know, it's funny. I painted these dudes before I started painting the new Legion Imperialis shit, which is half the size. And sometimes I throw more detail on that than this. I don't know. But I will say, there is something awesome about seeing these dudes like all ranked up on the battlefield, American Civil War style. You know what I'm saying? War for Northern Aggression, War of Northern Aggression, South will rise again, all that fun stuff. You get to see all this crazy shit right here. And you know, the Civil War is something, I guess it's big in the news now and stuff, the way people act with one another. But I remember growing up, I was fascinated by the Civil War. And I loved the Ken Burns documentary when I was a teenager. I watched the shit out of that thing. You know, my dad took me to Gettysburg and Antietam. We went to a bunch of places. Yeah, found out one of my distant relatives fought on both sides of the war in Maryland for the 5th Maryland Artillery. Holler. You know what I'm saying, old man Kehoe? It's a different last name than mine, so don't worry about that shit, guys. I ain't doxing myself. But yeah, anyway, check it out. Tiny American Civil War dudes. You know what I'm saying? Very cool. Very cool. And just imagine big groups of these dudes. You know, they have pike and shot. I'm pretty sure they have the Napoleonics ones too, which that one, DB likes that one, you know. But I got to find somebody to get into that with, because I don't know. I got enough miniatures I buy that I just paint myself, you know. But these dudes, super cool. And again, you're looking at Contrast Basilicum Gray. You're looking at Wraithbone Primer. And then the dudes that are Beechnut or Skeleton Horde. Argos Dunes on the shoes. And then GW contrast paints primarily. And then your rifles are going to be whatever silver you want. And then like some kind of brown, dude. You know, and then the horses and stuff you can get crazy on. And then you just mix them up, break them up, you know. And like, look how much better that looks than just all gray dudes, right? And I definitely think I decided I'm going to go maybe green. I'm going to flock them and then maybe paint their bases brown. I don't know. That's an extra step. Fuck it. I'll probably just make them flocked. Anyway, be good to one another. Do what you feel.